Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. I'm a relationship and manifestation mentor, and this channel's all about merging spirituality and psychology so you can manifest your relationships. And in today's video, I'm going to go through the number one reason why clients who come to me and people who message me on platforms are blocking themselves from receiving the relationship that they want. So if you like this content, please subscribe to this channel and leave this video a like so others have access to it. But other than that, let's dive in. So the number one belief that I find with people who are trying to manifest an SP, an ex-back, or a new relationship is the underlying belief that they are not chosen. And this can be traced right back through to childhood. And I myself have grappled with this belief over years and years and years. And it was so hidden and I was so used to it that I stopped seeing it. I would even just accept my fate of never being chosen. And because of this, because it was rooted in childhood, I had carried this belief over into my adult relationship. So even throughout my marriage, I was with this person for 15 years and never felt chosen. And as a result of that, I went along with this anxiety that I was going to get left, I was going to get rejected, I was going to be abandoned. And it really, really did sabotage my marriage and my relationship. And then the years after that, the on-off situation with my current partner was fueled by this belief of I'm not chosen. It would put me in situations where I wasn't prioritized, and it would manifest situations where I was not chosen or prioritized. And as a result of that, my self-esteem was really low, and I started to even act like I wasn't going to get chosen. And even when I was chosen for jobs, I mean, I did get married. Even when I was chosen, it didn't land because my identity was built around this belief. It wasn't possible for me to feel chosen because I was so firm in that belief that I would never be chosen, or even if I was chosen, it wasn't going to last long because this person's going to reject me or leave me. So if this is you and you're sat there thinking, you know, I really want a relationship, I really want this X or SP back, but they're going to pick someone else, I'm not going to be picked first, or they're just going to abandon me anyway, I want to give you some reassurance that this is just a belief and you can shift this belief, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Or maybe you have a belief that relationships are rare or hard to find, or this person is so much better than me, they can't possibly choose me. These sort of beliefs are going to be holding you back from actually putting yourself in situations that mean you're going to get chosen. You're going to avoid those opportunities because you already have an assumption that you won't get chosen. And you might slip into behaviors like people pleasing, for example. Maybe you need to put on a mask and to really juice yourself up if you're in a social situation, for example, to make yourself feel significant, to make yourself feel chosen. And we don't want to do that because I can tell you that, you know, I think there's like a 1 in 400 million chance of you being here today. You are already chosen. So what we want to do is we want to do the inner work to actually identify where this idea that you're not chosen or not good enough comes from, so that you can actually start meeting those unmet needs yourself. So my experience, for example, I grew up with this belief of not being chosen or good enough because my parents always chose work over me. This is what my perception was. My parents always chose work over me. Nothing I did was ever good enough. When my parents left, I never knew when they were going to come back. And I was always sort of pitted in competition with siblings. So I grew up with that belief that I wasn't chosen. So I had to really go into inner child work and identify why it is that I don't feel chosen. Another strategy that you might have is that you go round boundaryless. So you don't have boundaries. You don't know what your yeses and nos are, because the idea that you're not chosen, you can't have those things, because when you have the identity of not being chosen and you add boundaries on top of that, your subconscious mind makes that mean that you are even less likely to get chosen. But in fact, we need boundaries. We need to know what our yeses and nos are, because they are what our sense of ourself is. And when we don't have this solid sense of self, we feel the insecurity, we feel the discomfort, we feel not confident walking through life day to day. We don't take risks. We don't look at opportunities as opportunities. When you don't feel chosen, you actually avoid risk taking. And I'm not saying that, you should throw all caution to the wind, but in life, there is an element of risk. And it is only perceived risk. So, for example, you might avoid social situations because you were concerned about how other people might view you. In relationships, you might slip into codependent patterns and go above and beyond to meet your partner's needs because you don't feel like your needs are going to get met. You might become overly available to people because you don't know the next time you're going to get that need for connection met. So what do we do about this idea, this thought of not being chosen? So I want you to really consider where you don't choose yourself. And this is a hard one because, a lot of us will automatically think, but I do choose myself. When really, when you sit and look at it, are you really? Because I used to, for example, sit and wait for a text message from my person. In those moments, I was feeling anxious, I was feeling afraid. I wasn't choosing myself, I was choosing him. I was looking to him to meet my own need, to feel secure, to feel confident, to feel chosen. When he was never going to be able to meet that need, and even if he did, it would be temporary. So what I had to do was start breaking those patterns so that I could start actually meeting my own needs and actually choosing myself, like truly, really choosing myself. So what I would do instead of looking at the phone is I would go do some yoga, I would take a bath, I would go for a walk, I would make sure I was hydrated, anything that I could do, even tiny things that would make me feel chosen, that I could actually say, okay, in this moment, I chose myself rather than sitting waiting for the phone. Another thing that often comes up with people who don't feel chosen is that they are overly available. So what they will do, for example, if they have plans to meet with friends and then their person texts them last minute to say if they want to do something, they will ditch their friends and go with that person. When really we need connection from more than just one person. And it is healthy to actually spread that connection, to have different experiences with different people. We don't want to funnel all of that into one person because, number one, it's not fair to them. That's a lot of responsibility. And number two, we want to know different perspectives from different people. So we need to cut that pattern out, the pattern of being overly available to people, overly available to one specific person. Another thing that we need to do is understand what our yeses and nos are. What are you comfortable with and what aren't you comfortable with? What are your boundaries in relationships? What are your cut and runs? What are your standards? Because this is what's going to develop this sense of self that you're really after. And once you can develop that sense of self and know what is okay and what's not okay for you, you can't help but choose yourself. Or if in childhood, for example, you had parents that were emotionally unavailable or you weren't prioritized, it's working out how to meet those needs yourself now. And that is how you're going to heal this wound of not being chosen, by choosing yourself now, by meeting what you need now. And when you start to develop this habit over time, you will start to feel chosen. You will start to look for opportunities where you are chosen. You will start to manifest situations where you will be chosen. And sometimes, particularly when you're anxiously attached, it is hard to choose yourself in relationships. Sometimes it is hard not to get sucked in with the other person. It is really difficult, but it's about having that awareness at the time that you feel it happening to think, okay, who am I choosing right now? Am I choosing them or am I choosing me? Okay, I want to choose me. So what am I going to do? Okay, well, I'm going to take some space to myself. I'm going to do what I want to do for now. And I'm going to come back to this. And working on your inner child and that part of you where this not chosen is coming from. And I've got a really, really good video coming out this week with Agnes Vivarelli about inner child work and the benefits of it and how to do it. So stick around for that video. But I hope you found this video useful and leave a comment below if you need any help, and I will see you next time.